Good morning. My name is Andrew Watkins. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm worship associate of this congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cleveland. It's good to see you this morning. Welcome. We come from different places, different religions, different beliefs, and different backgrounds. Welcome. We come here for different reasons: to find community, to seek spiritual and personal truths, to question, to nurture heart and soul, to be nurtured, to explore new ideas, to find comfort, and perhaps to find the answers to some of our bigger questions. We hope you will find comfort, connection, challenge, and love here. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, know that you are welcome here. We especially welcome any guests who are worshiping with us for the first time today, either here physically or in the cyber world. If you're interested in more information on who we are, we invite you to fill out one of the guest cards in the pew rack in front of you. You can place the card in the offering plate when it is passed around later in the service, and we'll be able to reach out to you. If you're watching from an online platform, then please go to our website, uucleveland.org, or send us an email. On the middle page of your order of worship, you'll see a QR code. This is helping us with continued contact tracing. It lets us know if you were here and if we need to contact you about any illnesses throughout the congregation. So please feel free to fill that out now. It only takes a few minutes, or you can access the bit.ly code when you get home. We are about to enter into sacred space. Please take a moment to silence your phones and any other electronics that may beep. Our chalice lighter today is Alicia Burkle. Alicia is a longtime member of our congregation and member of the choir, and we especially asked her today because she's going to be one of our delegates to the General Assembly in June. Please join me in reading the words of the chalice lighting found on the yellow cards in front of you in the pew rack. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Reverend Randy Partain. My pronouns are they, them, and I am delighted to be with you in worship today, whether you braved the rain to be here in person or whether you're joining us from home. I invite you in this moment just to take notice of our space and your relationship with it. And if you're at home, maybe you take a moment to just take in the space where you are right now. Is there anything that you want to leave outside of this space as we enter into worship? Is there anything that you want to invite in? I invite us to just take a moment now and consider those things. May we enter into worship together. And speaking of inviting in, I would like to invite our newest members to come forward at this time so that we might welcome you. And for everyone else, I will invite you to take out the insert in your order of service so that you can do your part in welcoming our newest members.
You can come up. Good morning. My name is Carol Gay, and I'm currently the chair of the membership committee here at UUCC. And I am going to try to introduce our new members, I'll start with the introductions, and then we'll go through the ritual. So we welcomed 7 new members at our membership class a week ago, and I can find the right pages. Okay, so the first, these are in random order how emails were sent to me. So the first is our Ester, Sampol, and Margie Lopol. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information on these people too. So they get the credit for having attended our annual meeting last year online. But anyways, I remember meeting them then. So they've hung around for a while. They have moved to the Northeast Ohio area in the last year and explored several UU congregations. They come from Florida, where they have 20 plus years as UUs. But they found us and liked us best, so we welcome them. They're currently involved in the book group, one of the virtual book groups, the LGBTQ plus small group. Margie sung with the choir, and they're exploring other ways to get involved. So we will find ways that meet their needs and meet ours too, hopefully. So the second person, let's see who's next on my list. Nan Middaugh is not here this morning, is she? Okay, well, I'll give you a little bit of information. She moved to Cleveland from Minnesota last summer in June and started attending here in July. She's seeking a spiritual home, and she's looking forward to doing the Journey 101 class and continuing to work with the folks from the group in discovering our more authentic selves. So she did the 101 class, right? Okay, yep. Sorry about that. Don't read my own handwriting very well. Okay. Third is Christine Baker at the far, stage right. You're right. Christine's been coming since January, but is one of those people who watched us virtually for several months ahead of time, so there's probably some of you people out there now. We welcome you to join us when you can. So Christine told me when she first came, she already knew how the service kind of went and how things would be, so it was much more comfortable coming. So I think that's really cool. So she's looking for a community that encourages and celebrates spiritual growth and discovery. And she is the person doing the next Journey 101 session. Okay, next are Missy Callahan, who's here by herself. Her husband Frank is not here today. But Missy said that what attracted her to UUCC was she saw a forum advertised called God and Evolution, and she went to it and loved that there was no insistence that the two could not coexist. So, yay for forums. And so far, they're just getting ready to get involved in things. And between she and Frank, they have 5 children. And they're just really happy to be here, and the energy they brought to our group was really nice, so I'm happy to have them here too. And then we have Chris Newman, who here at my right, your left, okay, with, I believe, his daughter. So let's see. Chris, what attracted him is the community of like-minded people and the involvement opportunities. He is a music lover. He hasn't been involved in anything quite yet, but he's looking forward to what his availability and how he can fit in. And he's got 2 daughters, Piper and Zoe. Okay, that's it. So Kathleen, I'm going to have you. Wait, that's at the end? Yeah, do the poem and then we'll do the welcome.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kathleen, and I have a poem by Gila Jones. What is this church? It is not the building, except to the extent that we have chosen it as our gathering place. It is not the minister, except to the extent that we have called them to inspire and guide our spiritual lives. It is not the music, except to the extent that we make it when we blend our voices together to produce sounds lovelier than any one of us could make alone. It is not even the beliefs, for we Unitarian Universalists have no single unified belief, only the combined beliefs of each one of us. The church is the people. Without our committed members, this church would not exist. We are this church. Without us, it is nothing more than a dream, but with us, it can be anything we wish it to be.
Now's when you're going to need these sheets. New members, we welcome you, our newest members, into the UUCC community. We are so glad that you are here and have chosen this community of fellow seekers to travel with you on your life's journeys. Will you accept our gifts of fellowship and service and engage with us as we seek to create a community and a world dedicated to love and justice? If so, please say, "We will." And congregation, will you welcome these new members with the warmth and comfort of your fellowship and seek to add your strengths and talents to the new gifts they bring to us? If so, please say, "We will." We will. Convinced? Yes? Okay. Then let us commit ourselves to this community with the words of our chalice lighting that bind us together in common purpose and common love in the midst of our beautiful diversity of belief. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
And join me in welcoming our new members.
And we're going to give them 2 seconds just to get back amongst us, and then we'll greet one another this morning, and we'll have a song together. Gathered here. The number is in your order of service for you if you need it. So let's take a moment now and say good morning to one another.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirits draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and power. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near.
We come to the time in our service now where we share our joys and concerns with one another. If you're here in person, we do have a book up here before the services that you can write down any joys or concerns that you want the congregation to know about. If you're joining us online, you can put those joys or concerns in the comments down below. Sometimes We want to keep things to our small group of trusted friends, and that's okay too, but we still want to acknowledge it by putting a stone in the water. So today there are a few concerns to share with everyone. First, the Agbuji family is experiencing some emotional and medical challenges right now, and so we send love and care and healing to Rochelle and Ngozi and Nkiru. And we have a stone of joy to share. Esther and Margie found out yesterday that they have a new grandchild on the way. So thrilled beyond belief. So that's a stone of joy for that. And Ethan Levy turns 9 on Friday. So happy birthday, Ethan. Where is he? There he is. Ethan is back there in the back. Happy birthday. I have one more stone to place because after the service today, we're going to see the fruits thus far of all of the Sue McKim Fund project proposals downstairs. And so a stone of gratitude and energy and motivation for all of those creators. And what else would you like to share this morning? I invite you to come forward and place a stone in the water for any joys or concerns you want to acknowledge. We place a stone for those joys or concerns that were shared online today. And I meant to say as we began this time that sometimes people ask what to do during this long stretch of time in the service when people are placing stones in the water. Because sometimes there are a lot of joys and concerns that we have that we want to acknowledge, and people bring their stones and place them in the water, and here we are sitting. And maybe what we do during that time is just be. One of my favorite meditations to play, Karin, thank you very much for sharing that today. But the other thing we might do when we see these members of our community here in front of us, letting us know that they are celebrating or mourning or grieving or feeling some kind of way about something, it's just an opportunity for us to be present and send them all the love and the care that we can manage in that moment from wherever we happen to be in the room. And that too is ministry. So may we bear all of these burdens with one another that we might make them lighter, and may we share all of these joys with one another that they might be magnified.
Hey everyone. So I get lonely sometimes. Does anyone else get lonely sometimes? I feel like it's easier to get lonely now than it used to be. Does anyone else feel that way? I don't know. It's a strange thing because I don't know, it feels like we used to hang out more. I feel like hanging out used to be a really common thing to do. Now it doesn't happen so much anymore that same way. There's like nothing to do, so what are you going to do? You're going to hang out. Just going to hang out a little bit. Anyone want to hang out with me? A couple of people want to come up. You want to come hang out with me? Tom? I have a couple of chairs. If some people want to sit on the ground, you could. Want to come hang out? Want to have a hang? Oh, fantastic. Got some company to come hang out. I only had a few chairs. Good to see you, Tom. Hey, everyone. Coming to hang out. Ooh. Even more. Good to see you. So what do you guys want to do? Want to hang out?
Your company is enough.
Oh, there we go. So I'm reading this book by an author named Sheila Limming, who talks about hanging out. And what she said is that hanging out is being together to do nothing much. I really like that. To be together to do nothing much. So I guess I'm doing something now, but this is it. This is a hang. This is what hanging out looks like. Just this. Isn't that amazing? The question, of course, I had is like, why don't we do this more? Like, why is it harder to hang out? Like, why don't we have the instinct to do that? It does feel like we're often laser focused on accomplishing things. Like, if we're going to go through the effort of being together, there has to be a reason. There has to be a purpose. That if there wasn't an occasion to be together, why on earth would we be together, right? Right? So there's that laser focus that you have to do things and accomplish things. There's also, of course, this sense of anxiety about the future that builds in your chest when you're uncertain about what would happen. So you feel like if I just do things and I'm constantly accomplishing the things, then that I'm less worried about what's going to happen then because I've been doing something now. What could come from being together to do nothing much? What comes from hanging out like this? I know this isn't a real hang, I'm sorry to say, because I'm the only one talking, because I have the microphone. I thought about having another microphone, but I forgot, so I'm sorry about that. Right? So we could have this deep social connection that happens when, I know you're ready for this, when you are in a group and you have to push back awkwardness, and also maybe even anger, or frustration, or there's something there. and but you're together and you're stranded or something, so you have to be together in this way. That is a thing that could happen. And then as a result, you'd have skills, right? You would develop these skills from sort of the finding an abundance of things that we could find together, and kind of losing maybe that sense about finding a few disqualifications from the people I'm around that mean I don't want to hang out with you. If you're hanging out, you have to find things that you have in common, right? You'd have to connect in some way because you're hanging out, you got to do something. And deeper still, it could remind us of that radical truth that Reverend Randy was just describing to us, that our only obligation is to just be. We don't have to do things. We don't have to accomplish things. Our worth is not tied up in what we are accomplishing. To just exist together, to just be, that's enough. I think about this in terms of that phrase self-care. We use that phrase self-care all the time. So important to do self-care. Well, maybe hanging out is a little bit like us care. That's how we care for us. And an interesting thing today is we're talking about rest. And I started talking about loneliness and how exhausting it can be to be lonely. Well, maybe hanging out is a way of taking a rest from our loneliness. So, this week, as we think about rest and the way in which it allows us to resist some of those things that we're talking about today, maybe let's hang out. Thanks, everybody.
Today we focus on rest as resistance. After sharing today's reading, I will ring the peace bell, and during that time I invite you to take a moment of stillness and create a space for rest in the dense forest of your life. The Clearing by Martha Postlewhite. Do not try to save the whole world or do anything grandiose. Instead, create a clearing in the dense forest of your life and wait there patiently until the song that is your life falls into your own cupped hands and you recognize and greet it. Only then will you know how to give yourself to this world so worth of rescue. While most weeks we collect an offering to give to organizations in our community that are living out our UU values in the world, on occasion we want to lift up ministries and activities of our own UUC congregation and community. Our offering today draws attention to the good work and the needs of our garden ministry. More specifically, our offering collection today goes to our new apple orchard on the west side of the UUCC campus. The orchard got its start with the gift of heirloom apple trees from Dennis Grossman and Julie Short, and has become a true UUCC community and neighborhood project. UUCC members, neighbors, and Impact Youth have all helped build soil and plant trees. The collection today will expand our plantings of perennial flowers, especially recommended by Cornell University, to attract apple tree pollinating insects. The flowers also add great beauty to the UUCC campus, and if you didn't have an opportunity to walk through the orchard last year, I encourage you to do so this summer. As in the past, we anticipate planting the new perennials with the help of the neighborhood and Impact Kids. I ask today that you support the community building embodied in our apple orchard by giving as you are able, either through placing an offering in the plate as it is passed around this morning, or through Cash App, with the cash tag of $UUCC 44122. Be sure to put plate in the for line of the app.
I invite you to join me in dedicating our offering with the acceptance of gifts on your yellow pew card. We offer these gifts with gratitude and we acknowledge the constant gifts of time, talent, and treasure that strengthen and nourish this congregation as a reflection of our commitment to community within and without, our purposeful spirituality that is ever searching and growing, and our intentional actions that lead to greater justice in our congregation, our city, our nation, and our world. Do you like binge watching stuff? We can binge watch stuff now. We can watch a whole season of something like in a weekend. We could. We do. I love binge watching stuff. But you know what? We remember the story better if we have breaks in between the episodes. The old way of doing it, where we would get an episode on Thursday night and then we'd have to wait until the next Thursday night to get the next episode, our brains process it and remember it better. And yet, if I am sitting there and I have watched an episode, and there's another episode right there waiting for me, I feel like I should do that now. I should do that right now. I want to know what happens. I don't want to wait. I don't give myself a chance to rest. My brain would love to rest in between. It works better. Our playtime becomes exhausting sometimes. I play video games. Some of you play video games. Some of you don't like video games. It's okay. But I noticed the other night, I was playing a video game, I was enjoying the video game, but I knew I needed to go to bed. It was that time of the evening where I really just needed to say, we're done for the evening, we're going to go to bed. But there was just one more thing that I needed to do in the game. And so I said, well, I'll do that one more quest, and then once I get that seems like a short thing, and then when I get done with that, I'll go to bed. And then there's this other thing that I need to go do too. And then actually 2 hours later, I'm thinking, why didn't I go to bed? Because my entertainment, my playtime, my relaxation time was abusing me by saying, you're not allowed to rest. There's something else to do. There's something else to occupy your attention. Keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. You don't need to stop yet. And so even when we talk about rest, we have to talk about rest as an act of resistance because we have to have a really good reason. We can't just say rest for the sake of rest. What do we resist when we rest? If we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. Tricia Hersey says, loving ourselves and each other deepens our disruption of the dominant systems that want us unwell, fearful, exhausted, and without deep self-love, because you are easier to manipulate when you are distracted by what is not true or real. Now that sounds like a conspiracy theory. However, we talked last week about resisting consumerism. And what does a consumer need to do? React and be distracted and constantly be buying things so that we keep feeding the system, right? And so if we are unwell and fearful and exhausted and without deep self-love, we always are in need. And we are going to do something to try to satisfy that need. What we ought to do is rest, but that's not usually what we do. So when we rest, when we provide ourselves with the breaks that we need, whether that's creative rest, physical rest, social rest, whatever it happens to be, whatever kind of rest we need, what we are doing is we are disrupting an abusive system that wants us to be unwell and fearful and exhausted and without self-love. Rest allows us to resist the constant demand for us to react impulsively to every little distraction that comes our way. Rest resists the sense of being overwhelmed. Rest, are you ready, Unitarian Universalists? Rest connects us to spirit. Sorry, Spirit, we might need to define that in a Unitarian Universalist church. Spirituality is a religious term, and a lot of us don't like religious terms. But I really love the definition one of my mentors uses for spirit, because it ticks a lot of really great intellectual boxes, but also it gets me thinking. What if spirit is the liminal flow in a relational field? What if spirit is the liminal flow in a relational field? Liminal is that space in between. It's not here and it's not there. It's between. It's not you or me. It's the space in between. That's what liminal is. It's like the threshold. You're not in the living room or in the kitchen. You're somewhere between. You're in between two things that are in relationship with each other, but it's a liminal flow. So it's not just stagnant. It's not just sitting there. It's active in between. It's the rests in between the notes that make the music. What if that is spirit? And what if we need the time to relax and rest in order to be in that space, that awareness of the in-betweenness, that connection to what holds us to one another and to the world and to the divine, however we might name that. Maybe rest is also an act of embodying that. We talked about embodying the divine when we were in Easter, but embodiment means to physically imbue ourselves with something, to take the physical manifestation of spirit. What if rest allows us to embody whatever it is to be spirit? And maybe spirit is simpler than we make it sometimes. Maybe spirit is breath. In the beginning was the breath, and the breath became flesh and dwelt among us. With apologies to the Gospel of John. What if spirit is breath? I mean, that's what it means in so many ancient languages that we take this from. When we look at Old Latin, spiritus means spirit, but it also means breath or soul. Pneuma in ancient Greek is the same thing. It means spirit, but it also means breath, that life-giving movement of air. Hebrew has a similar word. It means breath or wind, but it also means spirit, ruach. Breath, wind, spirit, ruach. I love that word. It's fun to say. You want to say ruach? Isn't that fun? Allah can be translated as the great breath. And amazingly, aloha can literally mean breath of God. And if we say aloha to one another, we're saying we breathe God together. We have to rest in order to breathe God together, it seems. But we don't allow ourselves that so often. It takes us recognizing an act of resistance, maybe, to give ourselves permission. Because when we do give ourselves permission, when we do rest, when we recognize breath as spirit, that breathing a conscious breath is embodying the divine in a way. When we give ourselves that permission, everything else we do has greater meaning. It's not just an anxious reaction to the latest thing that is coming at us. It comes from something meaningful. And we don't have to save the world. We can create a clearing in the dense forest of our lives and wait for ourselves to come to ourselves. To wait for our deepest selves to speak up and say, This is what is yours to do now. We can't know that without rest. So as we breathe God with one another, or as we just breathe God with ourselves in those moments of rest, we connect ourselves. We become that flow in a liminal space. We connect ourselves within us, and also we become more aware of the connections with the world around us. And it's rest that gives us that space to breathe. Rest is like bathing in a safe, nurturing connection. It's resisting the constant knee-jerk reactions to every new stimulus. Rest resists the need for us to be anxious about everything all the time, all at once. Rest resists the need for us to be anything other than a breathing node of connection. Not immersed in the past, not jumping to the future, just being here, now, with a sense of well-being and enough. May we seek that and claim that need in our lives and create it in the lives of those around us. We're going to sing together, Find a Stillness. It's number 352 in the gray hymnal. If you would like to rise in body or spirit, I invite you to do that. Maybe your breath flows better as you do, but if you're comfortable just sitting restfully on the pew, I invite you to be in whatever place you need to be as we sing together, Find a Stillness. In between our resting, we do have a lot of exciting things happening around here. I know some of you have been asking about Pride. We do have a reservation for our group to be a part of the Pride Parade. Save the date for June 3rd. That's a Saturday, the first Saturday in June. watch your email for announcements about the specific plans on that, but we are ready to go. We also have a bus going to General Assembly and hopefully lunch reservations. Thank you very much to Carol Yu for getting that set up. Yay! Reservations are online. If you did not see a space for that in your Thursday newsletter, let me know and I'll get you to the form where you can make those reservations. Our suggested donation for a seat on the bus is $40, but if that's not reasonable for your family or your situation, let us know, because we have some people that are just providing some funds to offset some of that cost. So you can be on the bus, whoever you are, going to GA on June 25th. But you do need to register so we know to have the seat for you. We have our Journey 101 Introduction to a Small Group Spiritual Development course that's going to be on Monday evenings beginning May 15th. We're going to update the website. I haven't got it yet because I just heard back from a lot of the interested folks. Monday evenings for 5 weeks beginning May 15th. That's going to be a great group, and it's kind of a 5-week exploration with an invitation to go deeper later on if you want to. Today, we have our Sue McKim proposal pop-ups in the fellowship hall. We also have our FDR school bags. We're going to be filling up 46 bags for the 6th graders of FDR school, who are highest attendance this week. We've got 2 or 3 more weeks to go with this. 3 more weeks to go, and we are celebrating the attendance of whatever grade has the highest attendance at FDR School, which is a pre-K through 8th grade school in Glenville. And we've partnered with them to give them some incentive to show up and learn, which is hard after the pandemic. It's a lot harder than it even used to be. Tomorrow, our Earth-Centered Spirituality group is going to gather at 7 p.m. You can bring a reading or a chant or a dance or meditation, some kind of a craft to do together, whatever you're moved to contribute for Beltan. This is going to be outside, weather permitting, but room 215 otherwise. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. And then in 2 weeks, on May 14th, we're going to have our meal again. We're going to be finalizing, hopefully, our congregational covenant. And then after that, you'll remember the Living Legacies concert was rescheduled from last month. And so it's going to be on May 14th, which is Mother's Day. So if you want, you can bring your mom, have a brunch and a concert, and what a wonderful Mother's Day that will just cost you a little bit of time and be so lovely. So I hope that you're able to participate in whatever of those things make sense to you. If you didn't catch any of them, most of that stuff is in your Thursday newsletter. Just read the email. If you're not getting the emails, you can subscribe to that. You can also like, share, and subscribe to us online if you like what you're hearing today. Or even if you don't. Breathe. Be at peace. Respond from your center. Be well and make the world around you well. In that order. Amen and blessed be.
As we extinguish our chalice, please join me in reading the words in your yellow pew card. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.